Hello, everyone. It is your favorite ship here, Vertical Dorito. Um, we are a couple days away. Um, 5 days away from the zero point 0.4 launch of Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids. And I, like everybody else, have been waiting, sitting here, for looking at patch notes, trying to do, figure out what they're going to do. Um, I have this little list going on. I really like the Wyvern form. I love dragons, always have. One of my favorite things ever. Um, so I have to play with it. I have to find some way to make it good. Um, just like everybody else, kind of speculating that the druid probably isn't going to be the best druid class. The ascendancy, the shaman didn't really pull me in too much. The oracle is it's too up in the air. Like I don't know. I couldn't pick that class confidently or pick that ascendancy confidently, knowing that there's so many more passives on the tree that I don't know about. And um honestly, there's the whole medium, like the medium radius you can pick around the keystones node that you can pick on the ascendancy tree. So there's just too much stuff that's unknown. I don't feel comfortable delving into that. So I like to at least plan my builds a little bit. I don't think I don't really like wing things too much. But sometimes you're gonna make do. But as you can see, so my first idea when I first saw the patch notes, I was like, okay, let me look at these skills. And um, originally, I was like, okay, fine. What I'm going to do is whatever. They're not going to nerf it. But then, as you can see, I had accuracy stacking on here. Accuracy stacking relied on Falcon Dive to stack as much accuracy as you possibly could, which Falcon Dive would then translate indirectly into attack speed. So you had this, like, you would have an attack rate of like 0.10 or like even lower at some points. And with the Wyvern skill, if we go over to POEDB here, the Wyvern skill Oil Barrage has a 300% attack speed base on it, which is already pretty good. If you attack speed stack with that, you're going to be shooting Oil Barrages like crazy. And then Flame Breath has 800% percent of attack speed base. So I was really excited to to do accuracy stacking with that. But as you can see, the patch note update they did today or yesterday, whenever they posted it, put a cap on Falcon Dive. So you can no longer, at least from what I know, you can no longer stack it accuracy stack through that way, through Falcon Dive to get the absurd amount of attack speed. As you see, I had a Amazon already set up, ready to go. I was excited. 1% attack speed per 250 accuracy. You go over the calculations here. You go over to your attack speed. If you look at this little thing here, this is Falcon Dive. Falcon Dive is giving me 168% increased. However, it's capped now. So, where did that leave me? Oh, not that one. I want this one. So, obviously, it's up to 20% and 4% on the node itself, still netting you only 24% increase, which is nowhere near the 160 plus that I was having. You could have even more if you were, accuracy stacking on Gemlink. You could get up to like 300%, and then sometimes if you were doing like last league, if you were doing Hollow Palm, you had a more attack speed multiplier on top of that, which is what my other video is based off of. But unfortunately, I can't do that right now. So here we are. Where does that leave us? All right. Well, I'm still gonna play a Wyvern. I still want to play the Wyvern. I might not be spitting like oily mucus out at light speed, but I'm still gonna play the Wyvern because I think it's cool. So I had a few ideas. Actually, this is a little bit out of order. My first idea was to mana stack an Unholy Lich. Seems interesting, but unfortunately, mana stacking just isn't as good as it was in point one. I think to even get up to at least 10k mana, you still have to play Gemlink Legionnaire. And even at that point, I mean, obviously if you play Gemlink Legionnaire, you can't be a Lich, and I can't Unholy Might stack, which is dumb. So even with like pumping everything I could into mana, you can probably only get like 8k, maybe 10k. There might be some shenanigans out there that I don't know about. I don't know everything. I just go off based on what I can see. I tried it. The numbers didn't look too great, so I moved on. Next one, Invoker. Always a great pick. It's been top of the charts always. It's really good defensively. It's really good offensively. The monk start of the tree is amazing. It's just the evasion energy shield meta has been great for a long time. Hasn't been bad. It's always a safe pick. I just, I felt like I didn't want to play Invoker again. Obviously, next would be the this is random Smith Katava or Witch Hunter. So go over to the tree, Smith Katava. There's a lot of these nodes down here that have been reworked to be pretty cool. And obviously this one allows you to, stack maximum fire res and stack just fire resistance in general to cap out all your resistances. It'd be really good. I know a lot of people are going to go probably Smith Katava in the bear form, but I'm not playing the bear form because I want to play Wyvern. So I kind of said, okay, well, I could do Smith Katava Wyvern, but that wouldn't really set me apart too much. And then, everybody's going to be, doing the probably endurance fire stuff. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I looked at Witch Hunter because I started Witch Hunter before last league, and I really liked it because I liked Zealous Inquisition here. The 10% explode. I love the explodes. I play Righteous Fire a lot, and I follow Pox's guides. Play a lot of Righteous Fire in POE1. I love the explodes. Love the chaining. Pretty cool. Coaling Strike, always really good to have on your side. And then, the new thing was that Sorcery Ward now also blocks physical and chaos damage. So it encompasses all the damage types now. And I thought that'd be cool to play around with. But then I was thinking, like, well, what else can I do? And that's when I came up with, well, obviously, before I get into that, before I get into the main meat of the video, let's look at Pathfinder. Pathfinder, obviously, it's going to be really good with the changes that they put in there. If we go look at them, we just like Control F. Pathfinder. This part is going to be crazy. And like this, Traveler's Wisdom after that, it's going to be insane. You're going to see some wild trees out there, obviously, but, I didn't want to play around with it because I don't know. I can't see the tree. I don't want to make a plan for it. I want to build around something I don't know about. Especially something like that. It's way too in-depth, and it probably needs a lot of currency to make happen, which obviously I don't have on League Start. So then obviously the last one is the Oracle. Like I said, it's just too up in the air. I need the bonus tree, need the little keystone placements to make a build around it. So that left me with my one idea, the low-life Infernalist life stacking. And I know people have done this before, which is kind of like, maybe I'll just like tap into what other people have done for the low-life thing. I looked around the tree and I see, we type in low-life. Obviously you have stuff like this, which is like the enemies on low life, which is what people were using with the deepest tower for a while. Enemies on low life here. And then you have things like this, where it's like when you're on low life or surrounded, and then you have the Killer Instinct, which is 60% attack damage when you're on low life. Obviously, and then Pain Attunement, which is 30% more critical damage bonus when on low life, which is like, that's really good. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do with low life? And I looked, obviously Infernalist, pretty good choice. That or the belt. A lot of people use the belt. But I decided to do, don't save that, Wyvern Infernalist, take all three of these nodes, free up my belt slot, and just kind of roll with that. So, this is my initial tree. Obviously, I have no idea what's in here. There's a lot of nodes that I could remove here to make space for some of the incoming Druid nodes. That are a lot of them are going to be pretty good. This is kind of just like a generic tree. This is, I guess you'd call this like a safe tree right now. Like, I know this is going to function with the equipment that I have on. I know this is gonna function. If I don't find something in here that I like, maybe, I can't put pieces together like that, I'll fall back on this, and it'll still be a pretty good build. I just have Gathering Storm in there because I can't obviously put the, rolling magma in there, oil shot, or anything like that. So that's a placeholder. I don't have specific elemental damage types in here yet. Like, obviously I didn't take like pure power or any of the lightning nodes. I didn't take any of the elemental penetration nodes here. I didn't go over here pick up any like lightning or cold. There's none of the fire nodes from over here are picked on, just because I just took generic damage and shoved it into the build. So what does it look like? First off, we have Altered Flesh, which is just some damage conversion. Nothing crazy. People, if you've seen Infernalist before, people have looked at Infernalist, they know what it does. First thing, extra life, and then Bidat's Hand. Reserve 25% of your life, +1 maximum energy shield per 8 maximum life. Okay, so we're life stacking. We have 3,000 life in the build. If I pull out a calculator here, we do 3,200. I'm not going to do the initial ones. I'm going to divide it by 8. That's giving us 400 base energy shield. Before increases, before anything, just base energy shield from reserving a portion of our life. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we have +1 max spirit per 25 max life. So we have the same 3,200. We divide it by 25, and we got 128 spirit off of that. Right? 25. Yeah, max spirit per 25 max life. Yeah. So we got 125 or 128 spirit from there. So, okay, cool. So we have bonuses from our life that'll give us energy shield, which is our defensive layer, and it gives us some spirit, which is, obviously really good, because spirit gems in the game they're good to have. Then we have But It's Gaze, which the only reason I'm taking this is to bump my reserved life down another 25% to get me underneath that 35% threshold, so that I count as low life. If I take this off, I'm no longer low life, because I only have 50%. Low life POE2, 35%, it needs to be lower. Click it on, at least without the belt. So that's why I took that. If I didn't take this, if I was using the belt, which I might do later on, obviously you can use the belt anytime you want. I might take this off and like put on the Ignite chance. I might take it off and put on the more critical damage bonus, which, obviously is very good. We love ourselves some crit. But this is kind of like I said, it's a very safe tree. I know this works. It's, it's decent. It's got good damage, pretty easy to build. So that's why I did it. And so let's go over our items. So things that make this build: Iron Grasp. Iron Grasp gives you Iron Grip and Iron Will. Iron Grip and Iron Will, Iron Grip gives you 1% increased projectile attack damage per 2 strength that you have. But it gets rid of the inherent strength bonus, which means our strength is no longer increasing our life. If I were to take this off and then take that off, because that's also the same thing, my life would shoot up to 5k. And that would obviously give me, it would give me some more mana, give me some more energy shield, give me some more spirit. But that's not what we're doing. We're kind of strength stacking and life stacking kind of at the same time. So Iron Grip, projectile attack damage per 2 strength. Iron Will is 1% spell damage per 2 strength. So, Iron Grip gives you projectile attack, Iron Will gives you spell. Now, some of you might already know how this works. You put down Crown of Eyes. Crown of Eyes says that increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks. So, what does that mean? It means that our Iron Grasp, when paired with Crown of Eyes, now double dips itself into projectile attack damage. So, if we go over to... I don't know if Gathering Storm counts. Yeah, so I originally had on here... not Gathering Storm. I had Falling Thunder. Let's put that on. Yeah, Falling Thunder. Because Falling Thunder, as you see, it's an AoE, melee, slam, projectile, and lightning attack. The thing that matters most is a projectile and an attack, so it counts both. Now, it only encompasses the actual projectile portion of the skill, but that's fine. Because I'll speak more about that in a second. So, with the projectile on, we go to Falling Thunder in our calculations here. We go to projectile, make sure it's ticked on, because melee only gives us one part. Projectile, we go down to this. You can see Iron Grasp Vagabond Armor is now on there twice, because Crown of Eyes. If I go over to Crown of Eyes, take it off, it's now only on there once. So, we are double dipping. We are getting double the amount, double the value for damage, for increased damage, I should say, from these. And it allows us to get this ridiculously large number for increased, main hand increased total damage. So you see 395 and then 395 again. So from just those two, you have almost 800% increased damage to attack projectile attacks. So then from there, I was like, okay, what do I also do? What else can I do with that? And then some of you might know that there is a Heroic Tragedy jewel that drops from, I believe it is the Expedition things. It is a timeless jewel, so it has a roll range. You just need to find the correct one. But when you put it in your tree, it transforms some of your keystones and notables. In this case, I put it right here to transform the Black Flame Covenant. This is normally Black Flame Covenant. I transform Black Flame Covenant into Black Scythe Training. As you can see, it says gain no inherent strength bonus, but 1% increase energy shield for 2 strength. So, I am using my strength stacking to build out my defensive layer and my double dipped offensive layer at the same time. If I disable this, my increased ES from tree, goes down to 200% from 600% that it was before. So it's pretty effective, I think. I think it's going to be pretty good. Also, I just have some random Grand Spectrums to fix resistances. These are being buffed next patch. They're going to be even higher, so you probably only need one. And then Grand Spectrum Ruby for increased max life. The other things on here, most of them, you'll see most of them are capped at like tier 2. I say it moves through the like upper bounds of tier 2 in here. I just kind of like to put things on the higher end just for like me, because I feel like if you build out a character enough, you're going to get to that point where like your things are strong. Obviously, you're not going to have T1 across the board. You're not even going to have T2 across the board, but it's something to think about and kind of build towards. That's how I like to think about it. So, skills. We are using, since we have 275 spirit, we have so much spirit, I'm using a double curse setup on Blasphemy with Dire Strike. So, I have Elemental Weakness on there and Enfeeble. Elemental Weakness lowers their elemental resistances across the board, so no matter what I end up playing on Wyvern, whether it be the attack skill, the Oil Shot, that does lightning damage when it's empowered, or the flame breath, or magma shot. It doesn't matter. It's going to reduce the elemental resistances, put them down for me. I'm going to be able to, hit harder. Enfeeble, it's kind of a toss up. You can use Enfeeble or you can use Temporal Chains. I just, I felt like putting Enfeeble in there. Targets do less damage to me. I think that's good, but Temp Changes is also a very good one. Heightened Curse puts up the cost multiplier of all of these. I could tick it off and reserve, obviously get more spirit if I needed it, but I don't. There might be something else that I put in there later on, but as for right now, I don't see a need. Not without knowing more things from Druid. Ritualistic Curse, it just expands it. It makes it much bigger. I believe it's a 5-meter radius. If I go down to Blasphemy Elemental Weakness, yep, 5-meter radius on the AoE there. Means that they, I don't have to be as close to hit them with that. And then Dire Strike. Dire Strike supports a persistent buff, so Blasphemy is a persistent buff, and it causes you to deal attack damage, increased attack damage while on low life. This is 70% increased attack damage while on low life while supporter skill is active. This is not necessary because the insane amount of increased attack damage that the Iron Grasp Crown of Eyes combo is giving me, but I put it on there because why not? And later on, I'll probably end up actually replacing the Crown of Eyes, so I'm probably not going to keep that included in the build. So, more increases are always good. Because, as every attack thing that we have on our things, just more. Is like obviously more damage while on skills and low life, more elemental attack damage, stuff like that. And I just have a simple Herald of Ash. You can use Herald of Thunder. I just, I like the effect of Herald of Ash. I like that it explodes out there. Like I said, I play Righteous Fire. I like explosions. Explosions are cool. Just a simple Vitality. 2% max life per second. It's just, I put this on here because I'm thinking of dipping into, thinking of doing Zealot's Oath, but Zealot's Oath will require me to restructure the tree a little bit more. And like I said, I just wanted to do an overview of what overview and safe pick for what my build will be. This will probably be good. Probably feel okay to play, but I guess we'll see. It's all dependent on how the Wyvern skills actually play out. And actually, the great benefit about this in particular is it's not dependent on the Wyvern skills that much. You could easily transition this into like a bow or like a crossbow skill, as long as you're doing projectile attack damage. You can make it work with a lot of different things. So I believe, yeah, so that covers everything. I just put, as for like standard gear, breach rings, there is life attributes on there. Actually don't think I didn't even put up 2 other prefixes. I could put 2 other prefixes on here. I just didn't because I didn't really feel the need to at the time. Most of the time, most gear, it's just going to be life, max life, and strength, and then armor evasion. Max life, strength, armor evasion, all the way across. Amulet, I put Careful Assassin because the increased critical hit chance. I think that lends itself to the, base critical chance of the skills very well. And the fact that you have Pain Attunement for all of that juicy increase multiplier that you have on this on the tree. Is it not a perfect tree? Just a kind of overview. Some things that I think aren't going to be too expensive. Something that I can work towards personally during it. I think it's going to be pretty good. So, as I said before, I want to hop over to, where's that tab? Is it here? Yeah, it's right here. Okay, cool. So this tab, like I said, so just some key things to think about. Talismans. Talismans are two-handed melee weapons. They count as two-handed melee weapons, regardless of you not actually using something. If they're two-handed, so you can't use a foci, you can't use a shield on them. As two-handed melee weapons, I'm pretty sure they're going to have pretty juicy stats. As you saw from the, was it this one? Actually, I don't know if you can actually see it in here, but there in the video there was a bear form that was like fire demon. It had like an upper bound of like 600 fire damage on it, and like that for a unique is very high. So I'm assuming it's going to be pretty juicy stats on the talismans. But yeah, so as you can see here, this is a melee tag, so it doesn't count for the thing. This is a melee tag, but Oil Barrage does not have a melee tag. It is an attack, and it has projectile damage on it. Flame Breath is just an attack, so probably won't be doing that. There's another one, it was like Magma Shot or like Rolling Magma or something, that's also a projectile and an attack, so I'll probably end up playing Oil Barrage or maybe both. I'll probably play Oil Barrage and Rolling Magma, because this covers them with oil, and oiled ground can ignite, igniting the enemies. Also applies exposure to the enemy, lowering their resistances by 20%, which is great. Which I don't think I actually put on here. Enemy exposed? I did not put exposure on here. Let's see. Expose. Goes to fire, lightning, and cold. Because it's elemental exposure. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, and since you're doing lightning damage, you can shock them, so, you know. That's always fun. But yeah, that is essentially what my plan is. I'm heavily considering this. I think I got it down to where I want it. Maybe some other patch notes come out and change things later, but that's what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll be posting the path of building for this. Please do keep in mind that this is a preliminary sheet. This does not have the new stuff. It does not have any of the new information, doesn't have the new attacks loaded in here, and this is my preference. I just want to show you all what I'm thinking of doing. Other than that, I hope that you all have a wonderful league start, and I will see you exiles out there flying through the skies as a wyvern.